Hello everyone, it's Jimmy here. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to review the Hasselblad X2D, and really, I just want to share with you my overall experience. How does it feel to bring it on a walk, on a short trip, that kind of stuff. So let's first trace back to the very first generation of this camera, the X1D. It's a 50 megapixel camera, so still very capable. And I haven't used the very original one. I've used the X1D2, which is supposedly a little bit faster, focuses a little bit better than the first camera, but they share the same sensor. So image quality-wise, there's no difference. I eventually sold that camera because even though I really enjoyed the files coming out of that camera, there's a few shortcomings that I just couldn't live with. For one, the autofocus really does suffer quite a bit when there's complex lighting or when the subject is, behind some other object. The lenses hunts a lot. And also there's an issue with the overall responsiveness of the system still on that camera. But I would have to say that if you can somehow overcome these difficulties and you're not too concerned about having 100 megapixels, then that camera is quite a deal these days, especially considering the price point they're sitting at in the second-hand market. Because I don't really see the benefit of 100 megapixels in terms of the overall image quality, at least for a lot of people out there, like me, who doesn't print, super large. Like the colors there, like the colors are already amazing. The dynamic range is amazing. Noise performance are quite close as well. So there's really no shortcoming other than the megapixel count when it comes to image quality for the first generation of the Hasselblad camera. When I purchased this X2D here, I have those aforementioned issues in mind, right? Slow focus, slow overall operating speed. So this camera actually sort of exceeded my expectation in those ways. Not necessarily the image quality, but the overall experience, right? The responsiveness, the ease of use, right? The autofocus even is miles better than the first two X1D cameras. So that's a huge plus. And then, well, yes, we have to talk about the image quality. Well, let the pictures do the talking. It's way better than me, probably about how beautiful it is without showing you pictures. So yeah, let's take a look. All right, so those photos I've taken while walking on Vancouver waterfronts in downtown, in West Vancouver. I mean, the weather is beautiful, absolutely stunning views as well. But I have to say that when we capture these beautiful moments with this camera, you feel no regrets. Like you don't feel missing out. Like, what if, right? if you're capturing with a phone or some other cameras, you might be thinking, what if I brought something better, right? There's no what if in this case. The image is simply perfect, stunning, out of this world when you first saw it on your Focus 2 app. And talking about the app, that's the next thing I want to mention here, is the Focus 2 app is really intuitive, easy to use, and because you don't have to edit photos coming out of this camera that much, you can basically do all the post-processing within the app. So you don't have to rely on third-party apps like Lightroom or Photoshop, and you can export photos out of the app relatively easily. One thing to concern though is the raw files coming out of this camera is huge. So after importing maybe only a dozen photos onto the Focus 2 app, you'll notice that it's eating up your storage on your phone. So make sure you have, at least a 256 gig or even 512 gig phone. Otherwise, it'll eat up your memory really, really fast. That's one thing to keep in mind. Then the workflow, the image quality is all second to none. But here comes sort of the disadvantages of owning this system. For one is lens availability. As you can see, I'm still using this 45mm f3.5 lens here. It's one of the first lenses that coming out with this system. I actually quite like this lens. I've used the 45p exclusively for my X1D system. I enjoyed the size of it, but I don't necessarily enjoy the autofocus speed and the sound of shutter on that lens. It just felt a little bit cheap. This lens is better in that regard, but it's also a bit larger. You might be asking why I didn't go for the newer V series lenses. Yes, they're beautiful, they're lighter, and blah blah blah, but it's really hard to get hold of one without paying a premium. So I'm still waiting. I might still get a few more V series lenses later on, but right now I'm happy with this lens alone. Oh, and also I have the 25 V series lens. It's an amazing lens optically, but because this is a ultra wide lens, I don't find many use cases for it, especially because I'm not that into, astral or landscape photography these days. So yeah, I'll probably make a review of this lens later on, but I don't see me using this lens all that much on a day-to-day basis. Like this 45 is my go-to right now because it's sort of a 36mm equivalent on full frame, which is what I'm used to because, as you guys all know, I'm mostly a Leica shooter, so 35-50 is my go-to focal length. So yeah, the availability of the new Hasselblad lenses is just abysmal. And then the overall lens lineup is not that great when you compare to Fujifilm, right? They got tilt shift, they got zooms from 20mm all the way up to 200. We don't have that here. And they got really fast, like 1.7 aperture lenses. We don't have that either. So you sort of have to live with the current situation if you want to enjoy the color science and image quality from the system. And another disadvantage is, I wouldn't call it a disadvantage in a sense that, I mean, it's a medium format system. As far as medium format system goes, it's already quite compact. But if you compare it to something like another capable camera, the Leica M11, which also got really amazing image quality, well, the color is certainly not as nice as on the Hasselblad, but it's quite close. It's also a 60 megapixel camera on such a tiny body. Like if you compare the two, even without the lens, there's a huge size and weight difference, especially this black M11 weighs, I believe, barely above 500 grams, including the battery, while this camera is close to 1 kilogram. So there's a huge weight difference, and you really feel that when you take out these cameras for a photo walk. Going forward, I think the Hasselblad will be my project camera. You don't have to carry the camera while walking long distances, then the system will work. especially you're carrying, more than one lens with the body. For day-to-day use, I still think the Leica system is quite a bit better. I know a lot of people are asking questions about whether to get the M11 or X2D. I'll do a more detailed comparison review in the future if enough people are interested. But for now, I would say they are each good at their own applications, right? Leica is at its core a street photography camera. X2D is a still camera, good for landscape, cityscape, that sort of thing. Not so much when you need to carry it around and taking photos while walking. It's not that fast still, even though it's much better than before. But I have to give Hasselblad credit for its image stabilization. The IBIS on this camera is simply stunning. Like, you can handheld. I've seen a lot of people doing handheld with 1 second exposures. I would never dare do that, but it's doable on this system, which is amazing. So this is my experience with this new Hasselblad system so far, and if you're interested, I'll post more videos about this system in the future. And like I said, I'll probably do a comparison with the Leica system as well, since that's what I'm most experienced with. So yeah, I guess that's it for today's video. See you in the next one.